Hello, my name is Kasper and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this tutorial, we show you how to build a React application from scratch. It can be considered as a beginner-friendly tutorial with some intermediate topics like Redux or styled components, CSS library for styling components in React.js. So, let's go strictly to the project and see how it looks like. The project is a simple game of rock, paper, scissors. So if you can see, in the header I have a simple counter with total gains, wins, losses and draws. In the main area of the platform of the game, there is a selector, so I can pick rock, paper or scissors and proceed the game. For example, I pick the rock. Okay, I play. And I lose. So the counter counts total games proceeded 1 lose. I can play again. I am picking the rocks. And I won with the scissors. Okay, I pick scissors, I lose. I pick paper, I lose. I pick paper, I won. I pick paper, I lose. I pick scissors, I won. So the choice of the computer is completely random, and how it works, there is no special algorithm. Okay, let's set up an application, and let's do it by opening a folder in which I want to create a React application. In my case, it's a tutorial from desktop, and to create a React app, I will use the command npx create React app with dashboards, and after the space I have to type the name of the project, so I will type rock, paper, scissors. And my React application is created. Okay, few dependencies are installed and all the folder structure is being created. It takes a couple of minutes. Okay, so the React application is completed. I can start hacking. So to perform an initial run, I have to just change directory in the terminal. And for example, I will copy this command which React is showing me. So I'm going right into the directory of the project. Okay, I'm here, and to run application, I will just type npm start. npm package manager is just initializing my React project. Okay, and when I see this spinning React logo, I'm sure that app is working. So, what's in the folder directory? There are Node modules, so I have to make sure that I'm not updating this into the GitHub. You can see on the meme how it's huge, and it's really bad idea to upload it to GitHub, especially when you can clone the repo and just type npm I command and install all Node modules locally. So the next folder is public folder. There are files which will be deployed, index.html file which React in the building process is changing the JavaScript file JSX and coding it into index.html. So it's a static website which will be hosted, favicon.ico. So this is the it's not shown here, but it's the small logo on the tab on the browser beside the URL. Logo is the spinning logo, manifest.js JSON. So it's just a file needed to deploy the application. Okay, next project is the source directory. So it's really the folder in which we will be coding and proceed the cleanup. Git ignore file, so here I just type the names of the files, folders which I don't want to add to the Git, and then upload it to the remote repository. Package log.json, package.json, so there are just shown the dependencies installed right now and the script. So I have npm start, npm build, npm text, npm eject. Right now we will be focused on only npm start to create this simple app, and readme.md markdown file with the documentation. So to perform the cleanup process and set up our application to the initial state and just start building the game, I have to make a quick cleanup. So I'm going to the app.js file. It's the file which is changing this JSX structure into the HTML DOM document object model in the browser. So everything contained in there is the div with class name app. Of course, it's in the standard HTML document. There is also a, let me show, a head tag and body, and inside the body tag I have this div with ID root, and that's how inside the React is injecting the code from the app.js file and directly from the index.js, which is catching the div with the ID root and rendering the app inside the document. Okay, I can show you also in the console how it looks. Let me zoom in. So we have the head tag, the body, which is displayed, and I have there the div with ID root, which is called by React. There I have div class app, so it's entire div with the spin logo and text and button. I have the header, which is empty. Okay, I have this image tag with the spin logo, the p tag with the text, and the link below that. Okay, so right now I can proceed the cleanup process. So cleanup is initialized by deleting everything inside the div class name app. Okay, right now I have the blank page. Delete all imports beside the app.css, so I'm leaving that. Here I can delete everything I want to customize on my own. I will also delete the test file. We will not be performing the test in this tutorial. Okay, I can delete logo. Okay, I will leave that. Setup test will be deleted. I'm going to the index.js file. Okay, I can delete report web vitals. We don't need it right now. Delete this file. Delete the import. Okay, I leave React, React DOM, index.css. Everything is working right now, and we can start achieving our goal to build a rock, paper, scissor game. The next thing I will perform in this tutorial is to install a npm package to our application, which is called styled components. I have to confess that it's my favorite package for styling the CSS code. You can read the documentation in the styledcomponents.com. Here I have the command for installation. I'm just copying that, and I can run this to install the package. Okay, the package is installed, so I can start to creating the global DAM. Okay, in the source directory, I'm creating the new folder called global, or maybe I will call it dim. There will be the dim of the entire style in the application, and in here I'm creating the global.js file. Okay, I can import now the create global style from the style components. And that's what is needed. Okay, so right now I'm declaring the global style for this CSS styling, and it looks like constant global style is equal to create global style, and inside this string I will check everything inside the subpage with this selector, and right inside of this I will type the basic props with margin, padding, outline, box sizing, font family. You can pause the video, it's very basic, so I will not be focused on typing that. In the body I will add the background color. This color is selected by me. I think it's looking good. You can apply here your own color, and div with ID root, so inside our app.js, margin is set to 0 and auto. Okay, and I can export by default create global style. After saving that, I can go to the index.js file and add the global style to the application. So I have to just add the global style component here inside the strict mode, global style. Okay, it's not imported, so I have also to import global style from dim global. Okay, so the global style is implemented in the code. Let's start making the components. Before starting making components, I have to add some assets, which are the images of the rock, paper, scissors. So it will be added in the source directory, the new folder assets. And inside of this folder, I will place the ready images. You can copy that from my GitHub. Okay. The paper, rocks, scissors, PNG files, so I can add it to the selector. Okay, so let's check the application if it's working correctly. So I'm going from the index.js file to the app.js, and I'm typing the hello world. I expect to see that in the browser. Okay, it's not working, do not panic. Global style in the global.js I have mistaken, It's a normal thing developers do. Okay, I exported the create global style, not the global style, so it can't work properly. I have to make sure. Okay, global style is working. Let's refresh. Hello world, with the applied style here, with the background color defined here. You know, the background color changed. Margin is 0, padding 0, outline 0, font family, open sans serif. It can be checked. Okay, accidentally the printer extension is not working in this file, but don't worry. Okay, everything is clean, and I can start performing the game, maybe starting with the navigation from the React router DOM. Right now I can start developing the routes inside my React application. It's needed because in the home URL, so in the localhost 3000, there will be a quick selector with the rock, paper, scissor. Then after clicking the play and picking the item, I will be redirected to the game and with the item ID and URL. So in this redirected subpage, I can check what I chosen and quickly develop the random function for the selecting computer item and perform a game. Save it in the React Redux state, so it will be developed after that, and perform a game, perform a counter right in the navigation. So let's start with the React Router DOM. Let me show this package we will install. Okay, you can cite it here. So I will install it. It's allowing us to build routing inside the application, and it's pretty intuitive and really easy. I'm using the npm package manager, not yarn, so I have to type npm I React Router DOM. It will be installed. Okay, so I can go developing the basic routing. I will delete the hello world. Okay, and what is needed to be done here? So I have to import the basic components from the React Router DOM. Okay, I will change the view for the word wrapping here. Oh, it's not working. Okay, I will zoom out. Here I have the browser router imported as a router, switch and the route. It will be better. Okay, and I'm implementing the router component. And inside, I will attach a div. Okay. There will be the div, which will store the nav and the components in different kind of URLs. So every URL, every routing has to be declared in the router component, and inside the router I have to implement the switch. It will not work if I do it, if I revert it in the switch. I cannot attach the router according to documentation, and inside the switch I will add a route, and this route has a path home. Okay, and inside of that I have to attach a new component. For example, it will be the choices. Okay, what these choices will do? So I will create in the source directory a new folder, components. Inside the components, I will create a new file, choices.js. Okay, and inside this file, I will make a shortcut for the React functional component, RFC, and I have the ready component, and right now I have to import that, and it should work. Okay, there is one problem. Switch is not exported from the React router DOM. So the terminal is throwing me an error that exported switch is not found in the React router DOM. It's because I have installed the wrong version, the latest one. There were an update which doesn't allow us to do that. So I will uninstall the package by npm uninstall and type React router DOM. Okay, so it's uninstalled, and I will paste the correct version, and it's not sufficient because I have to type npmi, and I will install lacking packages. So right now package is installed. I will refresh. I will make a reset. And it's the correct version of debugging. So remember, if you are editing a file, the version of the packages can be changed. So it's worth to track that. It's the first debugging lesson from this tutorial. And what is more, I just presented the correct version of uninstalling and installing the application. You will not be mistaken if you will just do it by deleting and installing from the terminal, pasting the dependencies, and then obviously run the npm install, or just directly install by npmi React router DOM with the correct version. Okay, so we have it done. You can see that by the URL home I have choices. There is inside the div implemented the text choices. So let's start making the selector. To make a choices component really clean and present how the JSON notation is working, I'm just creating the choices list with the features of each item. So inside the components I will create a new file, choices list.json, and inside this file I prepared such a configuration. So inside the JSON object I have 3 items. ID 1 I have the name rock beats scissors, beats ID, so it's the ID of the opponent which is beating. Scissors have an ID 3. Loose with paper, loose ID 2. The same with the paper, ID 2, name paper, beats rock, beats ID 1, loose scissors, loose ID 3. So it's obvious that paper beats rock and loose with scissors. The last item, scissors, is the same pattern, scissors bit paper, bit ID 2, loose with rock, loose ID 1. With that list, I'm prepared to create the choices component. And inside the choices component, I will implement the styled components to show you how it's created. Also, I will show the hooks. So right now I am importing the useState hook, which will be needed. Okay, and the styled components. Styled from styled components. Okay, so with it imported, I can start making the component working. So right here, I will use the useState hook to declare the variable select item and set selected item function is equal to useState, and it's empty. So how this useState hook works, I will perform it in the choosEitem function. So to pick an item, I have to declare a function run on the click. It will be made by constant choosEitem arrow function according to the ES6. I will pass an ID of an item, open brackets, and update the state of the selected item with the ID. So the function choosEitem takes the ID and update the selected item state with the ID. So when I click rock, there will be an ID of the selected item 1, paper 2, scissors 3, and it all will be done with that. And I will check the state by the function is selected, and it will be done also with the arrow function, and is selected will take the ID, check with the if statement if ID is equal to the selected item. If yes, it will return true. If not, return false. Okay, these two functions are ready, and right now I will create a choice component to render inside the component of choices. Okay, so right now I need a choice component which will be rendered inside the choices using the choices list. So inside the components, I'm creating the new component choice.js, and within that I will use the RFC React functional component choice. What will be needed there is the styled components library, and this time from the styled components I will use styled and CSS, which will be described later, and I will define there some components, get an image, and create a choice. So I have to create a container firstly, and it will be done with the styled components like constant container is equal to styled is the syntax of the styled components dot div. So I'm using the div tag, and then open string and define the properties. Width of the container will be 200 pixels. What I'm defining now is the single choice, like you could see in the preview. The single container will take an image of the rock, paper, or scissor, and we'll just include that there. The cursor will be pointer, margin will be 10 pixels, border radius 10%, okay, and the transition will be to perform the animation smoothly 300 milliseconds is in out. Okay, so we have it done. And on hover there is a special syntax. I'm doing it with ampersand, hover, and the background color ice blue is okay. It will be ice blue. Okay, I also have to declare the image. Const image is equal to start.image. So here is a div tag, here image. Width will be 200 pixels. And object fit contain to have the image included in the entire area of the div. Okay, the choice component will take props like name of an item, ID of an item, choose item function, selected prop. Okay, it will be passed through the choices component. I have to define there to show you how it will be done. In return, I'm opening the brackets and I'm adding the container, which is defined here. So what practically style components do is creating the components with the style defined inside the strings with the tags I want. CSS is needed to apply here, not tags, but maybe some custom components from different libraries. It will be shown later. Okay, so the container will take a state selected, and if it will be selected, it will take some additional props in the CSS, and on click it will perform an arrow function, choose item with the argument of ID, and inside of that will be rendered image with the source of the cover. Okay, right now I place there an empty string because I don't have a variable for the cover. Okay, and what is needed right now, so the container component is taking the prop selected. If I select a rock or paper or scissor, it has to just indicate that it's selected with some extra prop, maybe border, maybe background color. In this case I will apply another background color, and it's done with the $, brackets, curly brackets, and here I'm taking the prop. In this case it's selected. I'm running the arrow, and if selected, okay, and operation sign, CSS. Right now it's imported from the style components, and inside of that I will make a background color Alice blue. So if the container is selected, it will take the Alice blue background color. Okay, and I created the choices list not to just directly hard code the image and the item. So right now I will just take another function, and it will be made with the switch in the new directory. So inside the source directory I create in the folder helpers to have clean code, and inside the helpers I will create helpers.js, and in helpers.js I will import my images. So I'm importing rocks from the assets. I'm going back and back from the directory of helpers. So I'm after slash in the assets and rocks png. So rocks is equal to this image. The same with paper and scissor. And here I will export a function, get image. It's an arrow function. It will take the name of the item, and by switch name, so I'm taking the name and I'm checking if it's, in this case is the name rock. I will return rock image, rocks, don't be mistaken. If yes, I will break. Okay. Case paper. Analogically, I will return paper and break. Okay. And case scissors, I will return scissors. Okay, is there? Okay. And break. And by default, I will break the switch statement. Okay, so the getImage function is ready. Let's import it in the choice component. So it will be needed right inside the component. Constant cover will be equal to getImage function with the prop name. I have to import the getImage with the shortcut on my keyboard, and I can do it with simultaneously pressing the spacebar and the control, and there will be propose the import. Let's attach the cover here, and basically the choice is ready. I'm going back to choices, and there will be some more components to do. So maybe let's quickly show how it will behave. And what I'm doing right now, I'm opening the curly brackets, use the choices list and map through them. And choices list, of course, will be imported from the JSON choices list. After importing that, it's important, I can use that, and I'm mapping through that. What it directly does is a for loop in the JSX. I can compare it to that, and every choice in the choices list has its own properties. It's an object, so the list contains 3 objects, and I'm going through that, like destructure it to the item and ID, then arrow function, okay, and I will return in the brackets the choice component, which will import, and inside the choice component I have to pass props, and the good habit is to pass the key always with the ID. ID will be item.id, name item.name, choose item, choose item, selected, and I'm checking if it's selected. It's selected, and I have to add to ID 1. Why? I will show you. Okay, on click it should be changing. Let's start that and explain directly what happened there, why I passed +1 to the ID, and let's go for that. Let's start styling these choices, and I will start with the container for that, so I will not be doing it manually to not get too long tutorial. So the first is container. It's a style div with the width 100%, so it will be width entirely on the website. Display is grid, and I will place item center. These 2 lines of code will just center the container, all of the things inside the container in the center of the page. Height is 100 VH. What does it mean? When I'm able to scroll the sub page, I will not have the entire width of 100%, so it will not be fitted only inside the displayable website, but it will be on the displayed size, like there. And when I scroll, after crossing the edge of the subpage, I will have the end of the container, and there will be another div. So I can now apply the container. So I will change div to container. Okay. And right now I have items centered. Then I will create a select module, and this select module will be looking like this. Select module, and inside the select module I will render the choices list. Okay, select module is not defined. Before defining it, I will quickly add the header, pick an item, and also add the choices container. And inside the choices container will be render the choices list. Okay, so it's looking like that. Let's go defining the select module. And select module will be also like this: display grid, place items center. Also we center all the items inside. The header inside will have the margin bottom to make clean UI. The button inside will have the margin top 40 pixels. There will be attached a play button. So I can now go strictly to the choices container. Choices container has also weight 100%, display flex, so all the items inside will be by the default in the row directory. Flex direction row, justify content, so it will be justified in the center in this position, axis X, and align items centered in the axis Y position. So it's super clean. And I have to perform the if statement inside the JSX, and below choices container I will add selected item. If item is selected, I will present the play component. I will pass their item ID by selected item. If not, I will not display it. So why I will create a play component but why I'm creating the if statement? If statement looks like that, question mark. If yes, everything inside this side will be rendered. If not, everything there will be rendered. It's better than doing the standard AND operator without this stuff, because if it's true, it can render some number 1 as a true representation or 0 if not. It's the common wrong pattern in the JSX. So I can now create a play component. Inside the components, new file, play.js. I will use the standard RFC, React functional component, and right there I will make a component for playing, and inside this function I am taking the item ID prop. Okay, I can now in choices import it with the control space, play. Okay, it's rendered, play. So what I have to do is to make a play button with some direction, with some link, and it will be achieved by creating a link from React.js, and 2, I will use the custom function generate path from React.js, and I will pass the URL game/item ID, open curly brackets, and pass the item ID equal to item ID. What this function does is passing the URL for the link, which will redirect us to the game/item ID, I'm game 1. 1 is the ID of the rock, 2 paper, 3 scissors. So I can be transported to the play area, and I can define it in the routes. So there will be another subpage with the bottle between the items like rock and paper. And to achieve that, I have to also add the play button. It's not declared because I will make it here with the styled components. Play button styled, I will also have to import styled from styled components. Button is imported, width 400 pixels, height 100, font size 40, border radius 20, cursor pointer. You can style it on your own. So we have it done. Next, what I will apply is the special route for performing the game. Okay, so let's create a route. I'm going to the app.js, and inside the switch I have to generate another route. I will copy that, and what's important, to make all additional routes above the home route, because it can not work properly. And there I have the game, because it was game / item ID, and inside this route will be rendered the game component. Game component is not created, so let's do it quickly. New file, game.js, rfc, importing the game. We are in the game component. We are also in the game. Okay, so to make the game working, I have to go with the standard procedure and take the item ID from the URL. It's done with the function from the React.js, const params, are equal to use params hook. Use params is imported from the React.js. Okay, and what I can do, I can display maybe in the console log params. Let's display only logs. It's an object, item ID. It's a string with the item ID. So everything is working. I can now create the function for checking the computer choice, update it in the redux, and display it in the game component.